Wait, I gotta drink water already. Hi friends, welcome or welcome back to my channel. I am so happy you guys have tuned in today. And oh, I have some books almost fall, but today we are doing a reading wrap up. So what I read in the month of April, and guys, I don't know what happened in April, but I never thought I could read this much in a month. Yeah, I read a lot. I read a total of, where's my phone? My pocket. I don't know why I'm sitting on the floor today. I just decided to sit on the floor so you guys have like a different background, but you know, hey, it'll do. I like the way the sun's hitting from the window right now. But this month I read 15 books. And I thought I read a lot last month. Last month I think I read 10 books and I was very shocked. So the fact that I read 15 books this month, I do not know how that happened. I will say I did do a reading challenge, so that probably had something to do with it. But yeah, but overall I had some really good reads, so I'm very excited about that because it wasn't just like a month full of like 2 and 3 stars. I had a lot of 4 and 5 stars actually. So without further ado, we're going to get into the video and we're going to talk about all these books. So I'm not going to do this in any particular order. I guess as always I'll do all the physical copies first, and then I will go through my Kindle of the books I read, and I'll just pop the title or the cover of the book here for you guys. So yeah, I will say I did 2 audiobooks this month, and I had like 5 Kindle reads, or 4 I think. I don't know, we'll figure it out. But starting with a good Taylor Jenkins read. So I have finally read Daisy Jones and the Six. I gave this 4 stars. I did do the audiobook of it because one of my friends, she told me to do the audiobook because it was better. But when I first started it, honestly guys, it took me a minute to get into it. There were just so many characters. I was like, what the heck is going on? How the heck am I supposed to keep up with this? But probably like 20% into the book, I was like, okay, I am enjoying this. So if you guys don't know, Daisy Jones and the Six, it's actually a TV show now. So now I feel like I can start the TV show since I've read the book. But it's basically about a band that comes together that's called the Six, and they decide to add Daisy. And Daisy is basically this girl, or this woman. She is like, everyone falls in love with her. Like, she's like known as like the prettiest girl, and she has like a great voice, but she wants to write her own music. And yeah, so I really don't want to say too much more. It's basically just about her life and the band's life and how they come together, but it's very good. So I highly recommend you guys read this one because, like I said, I really enjoyed it. And I will say I definitely recommend the audiobook. And they do use different voices for each character, so that's, well, not different, but different people for each character. So yes. Next though, I have You've Reached Sam, and I think I gave this one, I actually did this one in a reading wrap up, not a reading wrap up, but my 24-hour book challenge. This was in there, and now that I think about it, I think I gave it 4 stars, but I'm kind of leaning like 3.75 now. It was really good. It was very YA, but it was very cute, like, and it did make me cry. So maybe 4 stars because it did do like what it needed to do. Like, I read this wanting to cry, and I actually sobbed. So yeah, I think I may stick with 4 stars. But if you don't know, if you didn't watch that video, which you should watch that video, I have it linked in the description for you guys. But this one is, they're teenagers, they're in high school, and Sam unfortunately has a tragic event and he dies. So what is her name? Julie, they were really best friends. They were actually in a relationship, and it just talks about how she like learns to grieve him. And I don't know if, let me see if it says it on the back. Oh yes, it does, so I won't ruin it. So yes, Julie calls Sam, like after he's dead, she calls him just to like I guess you could say like try to hear a voicemail, just try to hear his voice, but he actually picks up, guys. He's dead, but he picks up. And so they just kind of have like these months of talking where like their calls are very particular. Whenever she calls him, he doesn't, well, none of her notifications come through her phone, and then she kind of keeps it a secret, you know, from his family. No one knows this. And yeah, so like to her, everyone else is grieving Sam, but for her it's like she's still talking to him every day. So a lot of people kind of look at like think she doesn't care about him, but they just don't know that she's like obviously like she's still talking to him. So yes, but it's a very sad ending, and like I said, I did sob, but it's very cute in YA. I don't know why I say cute and sad, but that's just how I feel about it. Next, in my 24-hour reading, I keep wanting to say reading wrap up, but in my 24-hour reading challenge, I read When in Rome by Sarah Adams. And guys, I love Sarah Adams. I actually just got this one in today. Practice Makes Perfect. It was just released today, and I cannot wait to read it this month. But yes, because I love Sarah Adams. I need to read the cheat sheet. There's somewhere on my shelf, so I will read that one. But this one was so freaking cute. It was just like the cutest romance. There wasn't any like heartbreak kind of. It was just like a really light read, and I think it was really good to just like cleanse my palate for like what I was reading. I'm trying to think what else I can say about this book besides, like I said, I just really liked it. And I think when I rated it, I gave it 4 stars, but I'm kind of moving it to 4.5 stars. Like, my ratings start to change as I keep like sitting on books and reading them. And now that I think about this book, it was probably like a 4.5. The only reason I probably wouldn't rate it a 5 because there was no spice, which I kind of went into it thinking there was spice in it, but there actually wasn't. It was very closed door, but it was like really one of the cutest closed door books that I've read. And this one, so Amelia, that's her name. Amelia and, well, she's also known as Ray Rose, but Amelia and Noah. So Amelia is like this famous pop singer, and she decides to take a break right before she goes on a 24-hour, like, not a 24-hour, oh gosh, I'm like mixing, but she's before she like goes on this world tour, she decides to take this little vacation just for herself, to just relax before she gets crowded by fans, you can say. So in the one town that she ends up driving through, her car ends up breaking down, and she ends up stopping in front of this guy Noah's house. And he doesn't want to be kind to her. He doesn't want to let her stay. He's just very, I wouldn't even say he's grumpy, but he is grumpy. Like, he's just, think of a macho man. I don't know. Think of like that, basically. He's like caught in his ways. He has like lived this life for a few years now. He's got back into this routine, and you know, she comes in and now he has to open his guest room up. So yeah, it's basically about her getting acquainted with this town. And he actually recently had just got out of a relationship that didn't end the best, and so he's like very not ready for a relationship, not trying to show any interest. And she's kind of the same way. She's like, I'm about to go on tour, I don't have time to really date, if you will. So it doesn't happen that way though, and it's so cute. Like I said, it's so freaking cute. And you just see their connection like build and build and build. And this just makes me more in love with small town romances. I've been in like my like small town era, which I've always loved small town romances, but especially like TV shows and stuff. Like, I love Virgin River. But yes, small town romances for the win, and this is definitely probably one of my favorite small town romances. And then next we have The Honeymooners, guys. I am so late to the party on this book. Literally every one of my friends have told me, Jasmine, you have to read The Honeymooners. You have to read The Honeymooners. And it's been sitting on my shelf for a long time. And so I finally read it at the beginning of the month. And I actually read this in one night. I think I started reading it like 7 and I was done by like 2 a.m. Yeah, I definitely stayed up to like finish this book. And you know what's crazy though? I didn't give it a 5 stars. I did not give it a 5 stars. Even though I sat there and read it in one sitting, I did not give this book a 5 stars. I gave it a 4.5, 4.5, in that little, maybe 4.25, let's say that. It was really good though, and also it was very much like closed door, which I really didn't think I would like, but like I actually kind of really enjoyed it. And it's just, it was such a cute little book. Like Christina Lauren, and also I did not know they were 2 people for like the longest amount of time. I like just figured that out this year, and I was baffled. I was very highly confused, and like what the, I had a what the heck moment. But it needless to say, this was really good. And before, why I keep saying that, I don't know, but now I'm going to tell you guys about the book. So basically you have Olive and what's the guy's name, Ethan. Yes, Olive and Ethan are, I guess you could say, bound to be brother sister-in-law. Yeah, brother sister-in-law. And the bride and the groom, they have this wedding, and unfortunately things kind of go bad at the wedding where everyone gets like this illness, and Olive and Ethan are the only 2 that did not eat like what caused the illness. And so she has this, the bride has this honeymoon, and they can't reschedule it, and they can't, like, they don't want to miss it, you know, they won the honeymoon. So her sister tells her that she should go, but then the groom's brother tells him that he should go, and Ethan and Olive don't get along. They don't get along at all. So it's like when they both find out that they were offered the trip, they're like, well, I'm not going with you, and the other's like, well, I'm not going with you. But then they come to their senses, and they're like, who's gonna pass up, you know, this vacation? Who's gonna pass up this vacation out the country for free? Everything literally included. They don't have to pay not a dime for anything. So they end up going, and they end up fake dating for like a few days. But as time goes on, like, they start to, at least Olive starts to like notice she's starting to have feelings for Ethan, and Ethan has an ex that's also down there at the same time. So they end up fake dating some more, and it's a lot of fake dating, but turns into like real dating, and they finally have their moment. But then like things go south again, and it's just a whole jumble of emotions. But like I said, it was really good, and you basically, I guess you could say, enemies to lovers. And I won't even say like, it's not like heavy enemies. Like she does like strongly dislike him, and he like strongly dislikes her, but it's not, I wouldn't say like enemies. It's just a miscommunication of why they do not like each other. So yeah, like I said, 4.25. I kind of stand in that range of it, but like I said, this is very cute, and I can also see this being a good summer read, especially like with the cover. Like the cover is so freaking cute. So yes, next I want to read Love in Other Words, because that's been another one that everyone has been telling me to read. So on to our dark romances. You know, we got the cute little romances out the way, so now it's time for the juicy stuff, the real juicy stuff. So I have finally started the Never After series by Emily McIntyre, and guys, 5 stars. Both books 5 stars. I devoured these books, and I loved every single minute of them. So these are not retellings, but reimaginings, and dark reimaginings of Disney movies. So Hooked is Peter Pan, and Scarred is Lion King. If I had to choose one, I probably will choose Hooked. But guys, I actually love the Lion King movie. Like, that's my favorite Disney movie ever. So I was very shocked that I chose Hooked, but they literally are so good. They are both were like amazing. And the next one is Wretched, and I haven't seen the best, like, I was actually watching a vlog this morning, someone was reading it, and they loved both of these, but then they didn't like Wretched, which I think that one is a Wizard of Oz retelling. So I'm a little nervous, but knowing how much I love these, I will say I do go into it with high expectations. So hopefully I am not let down. And I did like the Wizard of Oz. Like, it's not my favorite, but I did fairly like the movie. But yes, Hooked, like I said, is a Peter Pan retelling, and it focuses on Captain Hook and Wendy, and there's like romance. You know, obviously it's a dark romance, so romance is it's the thing. But Wendy moves to this town, and her father Peter is if you guys know Peter Pan, you know Hook and Peter do not like each other, and Hook in the book Hook in the book, but Hook, when he was younger, something happened and Peter actually was involved in it. So he has this ulterior motive. When he found out they moved to the town, he's actually trying to get with his daughter to basically stake revenge on him, but it actually does not work out that way. And like through the whole book, Hook is so untouchable, and then you just get shocked. You get shocked because through this whole book I was like, oh, he is very untouchable. Like everyone crosses the other street when they see him, and the way she described him, this man sounds fine in this book, guys. Like, Emily, can you like give us like what you think he would look like just so I can make sure what you thought is what I thought, because this man really do sound fine. But yeah, and Hook just faces like a lot of things, like people that he thought he could trust actually were not on his side. And Wendy also, she has moments in this book where like her eyes were shielded for so long, for so much stuff, and it's like someone rips the band-aid off, rips the curtain off her eyes. And I just love that. I loved like how just everything played out in this book. And then the romance, the spice chef's kiss, guys, I loved it. I love, like I said, I loved everything about this book. I probably say this is probably my favorite read of the month. I gotta say, I probably will say Hooked is my favorite read of April. And like I said, I had a really like good reading month, so to say like this one is my favorite is saying a lot, because like I really love this one. And then we have Scarred. So Scarred is the Lion King, and it focuses on Scar. So you have Mustafa. I don't know if they call him they call him Fassa. Well, it's called the Fassa family. That's like what they're called. But you have the brother, which I don't even know. They don't call him Mufasa in the book. Like Mufasa is the dad that died in the book. But then you have Scar, that's Tristan, and I need to find out what the heck is Michael. That's his name, Michael. So you have Michael and Tristan, and then you have Sarah. That's her name, Sarah. So Tristan is basically Scar, and Michael is, once their father dies, Michael is in line to take the throne, and Tristan, aka Scar, is like known as the Scar King, like the Scarred Prince. That's what it is. He has like a scar on his face that kind of represents the scar that Scar had in Lion King. But yes, and everyone kind of same thing, like everyone just runs from him. He really stays to himself. He's known to be very brutal, and you know, his hands are definitely not clean. And so Sarah is actually like on the road to like become Michael's wife, but of course that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. Her and Tristan start to have this connection, and it's just, I wouldn't even say this is cute, because it's not cute. It's dark. It's very dark, but I loved every single minute of it. I love every word of this book. And like I said, this was also a 5-star read for me. And knowing the Lion King story so good, like I think that just made it even better. Like just to see like what somebody's mind could do with such like a sweet like fairy tale story or whatever. But yeah, I guess I highly recommend both of these. I highly recommend Hooked, and I recommend Scarred. And yeah, so those are the two from the Never After series I read. Next, I also read some arcs. I read a few arcs this month, but these are two of them. And guys, I loved these as well. If by the time this is up, my review of these should be on my Instagram as well. But it's Forgive Me of My Sins and Deliver Me from Evil. Forgive Me of My Sins is actually already out. Deliver Me from Evil does not come out until the 9th of May actually. But it was so good, and you guys, I highly recommend they're on Kindle Unlimited too, I think. So yes, you can I highly recommend you read them. I love them so much. It's a mafia romance, and it's an arranged marriage, forced proximity, all the good stuff. And so Forgive Me of My Sins is the first book, and then Deliver Me from Evil the second. And you do have to read both. Like, if you go into this one, you're going to be highly confused. Like, don't do that to yourself. Read both of them, because this one also ends on a very, very big cliffhanger. So, you know, you like cutting the experience from yourself if you only go into this one. But a little synopsis of this one. So I feel like I have not read this in so long. Like, I probably read this like 3 weeks ago, and it feels like I read this like 3 months ago. Like, that's how long April felt almost. But you have Aunt Santos, that's his name, Santos, Augustine. So the Augustine family, they are known as this crime family, and they are trying to work their way up to the top. So Santos, the son of the head of the family, he is next to take the throne. He is next to take over their family organization, and he has to have a wife. So they actually end up promising the other family, which I don't know what the other family, De Leon is the other family. So the De Leon family and the Augustine family are not friends. They don't get along, but they, for some reason, which I will not expose, you have to read the book, but they end up promising Madalena, who is the youngest girl in the De Leon family. She's the only girl, like the only daughter. They end up promising her to Santos when she's only, oh gosh, I think she was 12, maybe 12 or 13. And so basically she's promised, like, once she turns 18 or 21, once she turns of age, she is already arranged to marry Santos. And so you basically see how they lead up to that point, up to the wedding, and you learn about why they really wanted her to marry him. Like, why was it her that had to be arranged to marry him? And then you also see the motive of his family. His father died, so like I said, he's over the family now, and it's a lot. It's a lot of angst, it's a lot of spice. I loved it. I love Santos. Madalena, girl, I wish it was me. I wish it was me, because you was lucky, girl. So yes, I highly recommend this one. The series itself, I gave the series itself a 5 stars, but I gave each book 4 stars. So there's that. But then there's, like I said, there's Deliver Me from Evil, and so this one ends on a cliffhanger, and then you go into Deliver Me from Evil, and this one, they start to really, you see that, like, even though it's an arranged marriage, it's arranged turned to love marriage. So it's like, it's so cute because it turns to a love marriage, and it's just the way they care for each other is literally the cutest. And the way Santos, like, is willing to put up with anything to protect her and to not expose her to what his family wants them to do is just, like, so heartwarming. It's literally the cutest thing, but like the darkest thing also. But yes, that's where this one kind of picks up on. This one picks up where you see, like, their marriage really starting to become like a real marriage, and obviously his family is not really for that. They always had this ulterior motive as to why he had to marry her, and he's doing his own thing, and his mom and other family members are just not here for it. So there is that. So like I said, I won't say any more because it's really hard to say something about this one without ruining it, because this is the second book, and it is a duology. So this is the last book, which I could so use more of Santos and Madalena. But yes, like I said, and I gave that one a 4 stars as well, but I gave the series itself a 5 stars. It's a very good mafia romance in my opinion. And next we have Heart of My Monster. So this is also a Mafia Romance. I don't know, I was in a Mafia mood this month too, apparently. But this is actually the third book in the Monster trilogy, and this is also one of those series where they're not standalones. You do have to read the first two, and I gave this a 5 stars. I think I gave every book in this series a 5 stars, so that just automatically makes the series a 5 stars. And it's by one of my favorite authors. It's by Rena Kent. If you guys know, God of Wrath is literally one of my favorite books by her. And oh gosh, I hate when I have to like give a synopsis of a book that's like either the middle or the end of a series, because now it's gonna be hard. But I think I gave my what I thought for these two books. But this one, oh guys, I want to reread it so bad. Like, I'm tempted to do a reread of it, but what can I say about this one that's not gonna ruin it? So the second book ends with, guys, I don't want to ruin it. I don't know if this is gonna be, hold on, my camera. Okay, I'm trying to think what I can like say about this one that's like not gonna ruin it. Let me just read the back, because the back is not really ruining it. But it says, I'm a man with no morals or feelings. The only reason I made it this far The only reason I made it this far is to be at the top. Nothing and no one will stop me, or that should have been the plan. Now my only goal is to get back the woman who belongs to me. Sasha thinks it's all over, but we're only getting started. She's my woman, my partner, my wife, mine. So I guess I can elaborate on a little bit of that. But in the second book, they actually get married, and she decides to run off for a reason that I will not ruin for you guys. And she is plotting his demise. She is very angry at him, and she uncovers things or finds out things, and she wants him dead. And so he does not think that. He thinks that she is dead because of an event that happened at the end of the book. But like I said, it's her basically running away from him. And he thinks it's his fault. He is like heartbroken. You can tell that he really cares for her, and yeah, that's what I will say. You see how, take with that what you will, guys. They meet and things happen, and things are revealed, truths are uncovered, and yeah, that's all I can say about the third book. But like I said, I highly recommend you guys read that series. And they're not really long. They're all on Kindle Unlimited as well. They're only, I read all of them on my Kindle, but I love them so much I had to get the paperbacks, the special editions, because the other ones have a man on the front, which, you know, we're gonna stick to the special edition. But the man on the front is cute though. So but yeah, it's only 300 pages to 303 pages. So it's a very quick read. Like I said, I read Heart of My Monster in one day. Like, and it was the day I had to work. So I literally like woke up that morning, read half, and then once I logged off work, finished it. So that just shows you guys how like short it is. Like I flew through it, and it could have been because I was like literally anticipating the book. So I was like very ready. Like 12 a.m. hit, and I was on my Kindle reading it. So there's that. Next I read Birthday Girl, and it's so fitting because April was my birthday month, if you guys didn't know. But yes, I turned 25. I feel kind of old now, but you know, we are, I guess that's life. But I was like, oh, I should read Birthday Girl. It's been on my shelf way too long. I have only read one other book by Penelope Douglas, and that was Credence. And guys, when I finished reading that book, I had to sit on it for a while because it's so taboo. It's very different. It was not what I was expecting at all going into it. And Birthday Girl was not as crazy as Credence, in my opinion. But it was still very much wild. So Birthday Girl is basically Jordan. That's her name. Jordan is, yeah, is that her name? Yeah. Jordan and what's his son? Oh gosh. Why do I always forget names? Cole, yes. Jordan and Cole are in a relationship. They are fresh out of high school, in college. Well, Jordan's in college. And they've been friends for years. So they really have a relationship based on a friendship, which is normally really good. But Cole is really irresponsible. He is pretty much just going in a dark hole. And so he ends up throwing a party, and it gets them in trouble. They get evicted from their apartment, and so they are forced to move in with his dad. And Jordan actually already knows his dad, but I'm not going to say how she knows his dad. You guys have to read that. But she meets him like actually the night that he gets arrested. And they end up moving into his dad's house, and she finds his dad very attractive, but you know, obviously she's with his son, like she's not about to act on anything. And so the dad doesn't charge them, which the dad's name is Pike, but Pike doesn't charge them to live with them. He just literally says, you know, cook dinner, do some chores, you know, you guys are trying to save money, I'm here to help. And things go, you know, okay. Jordan is pretty much doing everything she needs to do, but Cole is just not doing anything. She's doing his chores, and Pike starts to like see those things, and he gets very upset because he doesn't want Jordan to like do things that Pike should. I mean, he doesn't want Jordan to do things that Cole should be doing. And so it was, you see him become, if you didn't know them, you would think he was just being a father figure, but that's not the case at all. And soon her and Cole finally end things, and she ends up obviously messing with the dad, and they kind of deny it for the longest amount of time. They don't know where this is going. They, you know, both of them kind of think in the back of their head that it's a fling, even though they both want more. And yes, Jordan and Pike, I freaking love them. This was another 5-star read for me. And like I said, when I first finished reading it, I gave it 4 stars, but then I fell asleep and I woke up and I was still thinking about this book, and I thought about this book that whole day. And then I made a Pinterest board for Jordan and Pike, and I was like, that's a 5-star read. I don't do that for books that are not 5-star reads. Like, yeah. So yes, this one, basically you can say, it's so funny because I always think, if you know, you know, but I always think of like a Lori and Diddy situation, which I love Lori, but this book was given Lori and Diddy. That's what it was given. And if you know, you know. So let me know in the comments if you get down what I'm putting on that one. But yes, that book was very good, and it's different. It was different, but I don't know how Penelope Douglas does it, but her writing style and like the way she tells her stories, like when you're reading them, you're like, what the heck, how is this happening? And then once you like finish it, it like sticks with you for days. You're like, dang, I cannot get this book out of my head. And that's exactly how I felt. I could not get the book out of my head. So last, for the physical copies, which I did this one on audio as well, I read The Golden Couple, and I still think I stick with my rating on 3 stars for this one. Like I said, it wasn't bad. In my like 24-hour reading challenge, I said like this book was not bad. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't the best. It had some very intriguing elements in there, but I don't really see myself really saying, oh, I want to reread this book. That's kind of how I feel about it. But I haven't read The Wife Between Us. I do need to read that one because I think I could like it, because I do like the authors. I do love the story. I was like okay to put it down when like I needed to put it down. I didn't like want to keep, like I wasn't anxious to like pick it back up. But like I said, it was a really good book, and it's basically about this married couple, and they meet this therapist, or they end up going to this therapist to fix their marriage. And this therapist has actually lost her license, but she's very well known, and she's known for her method of how she treats her patients with like a 10-session treatment thing. and you basically like you see how like their relationship changes and what caused them to go into therapy, but then you also see things about the therapist's life and how she lost her license and what she's going through currently. And yeah, their lives kind of like cross paths in the most weirdest way, but that's really all I can say about it. I liked it, but like I said, that's really all I can like say about it without, I guess, ruining it. Like the twist, I think the twist just wasn't what I wanted. The twist just wasn't the best for me, is really all I can say about it. But on to my Kindle. So I read like I said, I read a few arcs this month, and I think that is, the first one, I'm trying to like look at my Highest Bidder. So guys, I read Highest Bidder. That was my first book by Sarah Kate, I think is how you say her name, and I downloaded the whole Salacious Club series on my Kindle now, and I am so ready for the other like alternative covers to come out, because I'm buying them as they come out. I have Praise already, but the other 3 don't have alternative covers that's released yet. They release later this year, which I need them now, Sarah. I need them now. But guys, Highest Bidder, oh gosh, it was an age gap, which that was my first age gap, which Birthday Girl is also an age gap, obviously, since it's the father of her ex-boyfriend. But this was actually the first age gap I read, and I'll put the title, the cover somewhere on here. But it was so good. It was another book that I like read in one sitting. I stayed up all night finishing it, and it was literally just, it was so different. I've never read anything like it. Like I said, it was my first age gap, and just thinking about this book, Roman is just like the sweetest. Roman is literally the sweetest guy, and he just has my heart, guys. And Daisy, that's her name. She's this young, naive, what would you say, naive, but she's this young girl, and she finds out she has an account, or she didn't find out, but her mom let her know like she has this bank account with a lot of money in there, and it turns out that Roman is the one that supplied the funds. And so she comes to this town to basically try to figure out why this man she never met before has like given her all this money. And her mom is dead, so she can't really ask her mom now. So she is in a position where she has to figure it out. So she purposely like comes to this town and gets this job so she can possibly get to know him and see what happens, like what happened and why she got that money. And so they form a relationship, and guys, Sarah Kate, her smut, she top notch. Like, be ready when you read the book. Like I said, I loved every single minute of it, and it was so cute. Like, and it's also, he's very rich, so like you get like those, like she gets to do those things that you don't see normal relationships do, like, you know, rich romance, especially like when they're rich, like the romances in that is like amazing. And my camera's about to die, so let me change the battery. Like I was saying, I was talking about Highest Bidder. Yes, so they're able to do like really cute things that, you know, people with normal money couldn't do. Like he takes her to Paris, and it's just so cute. It's just so cute that they get to do all these things, and I loved it. I loved every minute of the book, like I said. Next, I think I only have 2 more books. So the next one was another arc. It was Dear Daughter by Cassandra Garrison, and guys, it was such a beautiful story. It is a Christian story. So basically this woman, which once again, names, Olivia. So Olivia she goes into birth, and she has this moment where she starts to have multiple flashbacks of her life. And the home she grew up in wasn't the best. Her dad was a loving person, but her mom it's almost like her mom resented her like all her life and thinks that she ruined her because she had a kid. Like she blames her daughter, so it's like she just resents her for some reason. So she, like, Olivia spends her life trying to figure out like why, like what did I do, and you just go through moment and moment of her life, and you just get to see how like her life transformed and how her love for God grew, and just like wondering to like, you know, what would she tell her daughter in these like situations and things. So it was a very like heartfelt book, and I love, like, I don't normally read Christian books obviously as much as I read like fiction books, but I do love to try to read at least once a month. And so I really enjoyed it, and I'll put the cover here too. And this is a it is on Kindle, and I think you can get it on Amazon. Like I said, I was sent an ARC of it, but yeah, like I said, it's called Dear Daughter, and if you guys love Christian like books, I highly recommend it, because it's just one of those stories where it's not like a self-help book like in the Christian community. It's like a true like story, and the fact that it's fiction too, it's like it's different, kind of like Francine Rivers. Like I have some of her books that I want to read, and so I feel like it may be kind of like the same thing, like I may enjoy it like the same way. So that was that one. And then last, which it's also on my Kindle, and it was another ARC, it's called Irresistibly Perfect. And guys, this one was so cute. I loved it. Oh gosh, it's a friends to lovers, but it's also like forbidden romance, because they're not supposed to basically be together. Like that's not something their family really approves of, even though they're very much like grown. They're very much grown. But you have Grayson and you have Fallon, and Grayson is this rock star, and he is basically on the road a lot, and he's always really had this thing for Fallon, and they've been best friends for years. And there comes a point where Fallon decides to finally end the friendship, and she actually does it by leaving a letter, which you guys can figure out how that made Grayson feel. So he just does this bizarre thing where he just decides to go book a flight to find out where she is, and from there you see how they kind of have this push and pull, and how their relationship just ends up to what it is. But like I said, it's so beautiful, and I love a good friends to lover trope. But it was also sad, because like it's like, man, they like always have this connection as kids. Like I said, they've been friends for so long, and it just kind of sucks that they like had to go through that to just get their ending. But overall, I really liked it, and I completely forgot to give my rating. So for highest bidder, I gave 5 stars. For, wait, I need to look at my thing. So highest bidder, I gave 5 stars. Dear Daughter, I gave 4 stars, and Irresistibly Perfect, I gave 4 stars. And then the last book I read was Weak Side. I think that's the last one. Let's see, I think so. Let me look at, yes, Weak Side is the last one. And that's a hockey romance, and if you guys know, I love me some hockey romances. Icebreaker is probably one of my favorites. I freaking love that book, and I cannot wait for the next like book in that world to come out. I think it comes out later this year. So excited, because I have always been obsessed with Nate Hawkins. But Weak Side, like I said, this is also an ARC, and it's by S.J. Silvis. I'll put a cover here or here, one of the other. But you definitely, wait, I'm sorry guys, I'm trying to like get it to where I can like see the names again, because you know, it just goes out of my head. So yes, you have Theo, and I think it's Claire. Okay, yes, Claire, Theo and Claire. And guys, it's so funny how their like story turns out. But Theo and Claire are both athletes at school, and Claire, which her last name, let's see, I can like, let me see if I can like figure out what her last name was. But essentially her last name was like something where when it's read backwards it sounds like a guy's name, and so they actually end up putting her in a guy's dorm, and that dorm happens to be Theo's dorm, and Theo is the top hockey player. Obviously he's on the road to becoming in the NHL, and everyone in the school loves him. They have these things called what are they called? Gosh. They're basically like what you could consider like, oh, I gotta find it now. I gotta find what they like call them. And I will not move on until I find out what they called them. Like the girls that come to, I guess, to the guys. And gosh, I really need to know. I really need to know. What the heck? Why does my mind do this? Why can I never remember? Hold on. I'm going to find it, guys. I'm going to figure it out. Puck bunnies. There we go. They call them puck bunnies. So essentially they're the girls that pine after the hockey players, and they you know, they try to get their way with the hockey players. And so there's a little bit of fake dating, well, a lot of fake dating, because Claire decides to try to help Theo and pretend to be his girlfriend so he can keep the puck bunnies off of him. But the book really starts off crazy because she's in a relationship. That relationship is not the best relationship. The guy is a complete asshole, to say the least. That's what he is. And you know, Theo notices it before her, and he's there for her when she goes through the heartbreak, and it's just so cute. Theo literally is like the cutest. I love, like, I don't know why every single hockey romance I've read, the hockey player is always a golden retriever. Like, is that just a hockey thing? Like, is the guy always a golden retriever? I'm starting to think so, but like I said, I gave it a 4 stars. It's just so cute. Their friendship and the fake dating obviously turns into real dating, and it's really just the cutest little book. It's so cute. I read it in a day. I think that was another book I read in a day, which probably makes sense to why I got to read so many books this month, because I had a lot of books that I read in like one day. And I think partly is because I read a lot on my Kindle, and if you guys watched my previous videos, you know I feel like whenever I read on my Kindle, I read so much faster. I do not know why. I cannot explain it, but there's like literally like a lot of the books, even though I had the paper copy, I still read on my Kindle just because I feel like I was reading faster. But yeah, those are all the books. I think that was all of them. That was that 15, guys? I hope that was 15. That's what I have in my Goodreads. 15 noted for the month. But yes, if you guys don't follow me on Goodreads, or you're not friends with me on Goodreads, I will make sure I leave it in the description. Friend me, I'll friend you guys back so I can see all the good books you guys are reading. The amount of like books I have in my like want to read is insane, because how many people like I keep seeing like post like books they're reading, and I'm like, ooh, that's the one I want to read. So keep it coming, guys, because there's never enough books in the world for us to read. So without further ado though, I'm gonna let you guys go, and I will see you guys in the next video, and hopefully we have a really good reading month in May. I can tell you guys now, 2 books that are definitely on my TBR for May are these 2. I'm definitely probably gonna start this one tonight. I've been waiting on this one. If you guys don't know, Every Summer After was out previously, and I love that book. I read it in like November, so I have been waiting on this book. So this is gonna be the book I read tonight, and then I'll read Practice Makes Perfect this month. I have a few others, but I don't really know if I'm gonna read them because I'm such a mood reader. I just know these 2 are definitely on my list. So I love you guys, and thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.